Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Ryan. I'm happy to have the Gaffers back here for yet another week of shenanigans and a brand new anime arc that we'll obviously be getting into about love and probably a lot of dick jokes based upon the god and goddesses that tend to be around this particular temples. But I, as always, am Scoot, your dungeon master for the evening. And this week, I posed the Gaffers. I gave them a little bit of time to think about this one. This week, I asked them, with all the various traits that you can pick up in D&D, sometimes they're categorized. Most people know them as racial traits. Sometimes they're from classes. I gave them a brief list, but I asked them, what one would you want? For example, dark vision, fire resistance, and how do you think that would affect you in the real world, both positively and negatively? So, for example, fire resistance might make you very, very resistant to heat and make your body very good at, dispersing heat. However, if you went to a cold climate, that may not work for you as well. So, Gaffers, who would like to go first?
So I 100% know my answer. I'm Kate. I play Neva, our half-dryad druid. I did at first consider electric resistance to electric damage, mostly because I'm in the midst of some home renovations, and boy, it would be convenient if I could just do whatever I wanted with wiring without worrying that it was going to shock me to death. But this would also have the significant negative of an AED would no longer work on me, and I didn't like that idea. So instead, because I am forever out of time and desperately need more of it, would absolutely choose the ability Trance, which basically lets you meditate for 4 hours, which gives you the same benefit as 8 hours of sleep, which would give me an extra 4 hours to do things within a day. Would this limit my ability to, say, play games with friends? Possibly, because they probably wouldn't all be up to the same very late hours that I now would be able to be. On the other hand, I could just, actually play games with friends while they're awake, and then just spend the hours that they're not awake doing work.
I will bounce off of that one, because I almost considered taking Trance for the extra 4 hours a day, because that's incredible. I could learn so much, I would get so much done. But realistically, no, I wouldn't. I would just have 4 hours more of Reddit.
And we all need more Reddit, don't we?
Oh, yes. So, realistically, I would definitely take amphibious. Be able to breathe in the water. Go swimming everywhere. It would my day-to-day life would not be particularly different. At the moment,
places maybe not everywhere. There are some places you might not swim.
Well, true. But I would probably move somewhere next to large water and spend most of my time diving.
Next.
I
can go.
It's
all you.
I think Deb's.
Hi, I'm Deb. I'm playing Tessa, the paladin, tiefling, and this is probably no surprise to anybody, but I would choose flight via wings from the list there. Now, I have the pros and cons listed in a whole Excel sheet of, do you want dragon wings or feather wings? But let's just keep it simple and go with feather. So obviously flight, a big thing. You can use the feathers for fun projects, and I can reach really high places that I can't reach without a really, really tall ladder. So they can finally fix the ugly chandelier in the hallway. That'd be great, because we can't reach it, and it's a pineapple, and I don't know why. You can't get rid of it.
I've been to your house. Where is this?
It's over, the stairway that goes down to the kitchen.
Yeah.
We can't get a ladder in there because it's a
spiral.
It's weird. And it's hideous. Can't get rid of it. We can't reach it. Anyway, the bad side I think would be, they're massive. They're going to take up a lot of space. You need to preen them pretty often. It's hard not to stand out, which typically I try to remain anonymous. Oh, also bugs in the face. You need to pick up a good face shield if you're going to be flying around.
You would also very likely be investigated by, DARPA and various other military folks who would, want to figure out how did you grow wings and how do we militarize this shit.
I don't want people to leave me alone. So.
But you know what? You would be such a hit at Ren fairs and stuff. That shit would pay for itself, right?
I'd fit in.
I'm Will. I play Roscoe, the Ismar Warlock Sorcerer. I forgot for a second. I have a short list of 2, but I am not choosing poison resistance. The only reason I was going to go for poison resistance is I'm willing to bet I'm the person who most recently had to call poison control for themselves. I have poisoned myself like within the last 3 months.
This
I'm
sounds like a
fine.
story.
That's always good.
It turns out you're not supposed to drink out of something you spray painted until the spray paint has like really cured. Otherwise, you're just drinking spray paint, which isn't ideal.
2 out of 10 would not recommend.
It was like the anti-huffing. It's like the part of spray paint. The other parts of spray paint, also very bad for you. All of it's bad for you, it turns out. Spray paint is not food. Anyway, I decided to go for the one that would practically improve my life the most. Maybe not the most exciting, but cold resistance. And I'm not a person who gets particularly cold. Like, I like the cold. Like, I shoveled in this t-shirt that I'm wearing right now.
You're insane. You're one of
in the
those
snow,
people.
the snow earlier this afternoon. Like, I don't mind the cold. My problem is that I love my happy place when I'm not D&Ding is building stuff out in the garage, doing woodworking and stuff. And I can't do it if my
The
fingers.
stiff fingers
So
problem.
really, if I could just get that like good cold resistance around my hands, where I could be out in the garage in this weather and still be making stuff, that would be fantastic.
I'm sorry, as your resident medical professional, I'm still sitting here, like, just grappling with the fact that you drank spray paint accidentally. Slash, not accidentally.
Also,
And I'll
as
tell you
a
what.
chemist, I'm just shaking my head like, what the fuck did you just
Learned the beautiful people at Poison Control. You're doing some lord's work. I'm not sure which one, or many. A lot of them are anti-poison, but was able to get to like the brand and the make of spray paint inside that brand very quickly to be like, how much of it was like Color Max High Gloss. How much of the Color Max High Gloss have you consumed? Very little. Now, it was dissolved in alcohol, which I was curious if that made things better or worse. Turns out it makes no difference. You're still drinking paint. So, oh,
Did
this
I
little
happen
guy
to
actually.
dilute it?
If it's methanol, you
Who's
got
this little guy,
issues.
as a matter of fact?
Well, I really get the feeling that, like, you're probably a good 3 decades older than the person who usually gets a phone call to poison control for them.
Oh, well, it's been about 20 years since I had somebody have to call poison control on me before.
Like,
I
we
sucked on
recently
the
had to
ink
call
out of an
poison
ink
control
pad
for my
once.
niece because she accidentally ate a whole bunch of... she drank, like, half a bottle of infant Tylenol because it was purple and tasted like
I
grapes.
had one of those.
Yeah, but she was
Wasn't
3, so like half of a bottle of infant Tylenol was actually still well below the maximum allowed dose for her size, so it was fine.
There you go.
I'm only being light about this. What would have been a dire situation, I'm sure, very scary because you started late, and I just made an assumption that everything was fine. I really hope that.
I just
It was
looked up
pretty
a
fun.
list of ingredients.
It turned out to be hilarious because she was fine. Will, your story is also hilarious because you turned out to be fine, but also
Looking at this
you're
list,
right.
dude, that's a lot of cancer. Not gonna lie.
Let's
Thanks.
move on.
point is
Thanks for the
to
fun
made-
reminder.
shall we?
You made your
Ooh,
con
ooh,
save.
the title of the
That's
episode. That's a lot of cancer. That'll bring
Cancer.
people in. They'll definitely want to listen up now. Welcome to Ryan. That's a lot of cancer. How can I help you?
Wow.
No, you'd have to be
let's-
exposed to a lot more than that.
yeah.
Let's rework that branding. Let's workshop that a bit.
We'll workshop that.
No,
No
that's-
workshop. All right. Well, now that things have gone in a weird place,
Because they never.
No, not in this game.
we'll bring it back to normal, I'm sure.
Randall, please save us.
Okay, hi, I'm Randall, and I play Kiki, the Kinku Tinkerer. I am also on Team Trance. I thought about it, and like Flight was it popped in my mind. But then I was like, no, let's talk quality of life. Because I kind of have a busy brain that doesn't always like to shut off at night. So sleep is a precious commodity for me. And I was like if I could get like unbroken 4 hours of just regular sleep, like on a regular basis, like chef's kiss, mwah, that would be amazing.
Upgrades,
and I'm like, wait,
people, upgrades.
Wait, no, seriously. I'm like, wait, 4 hours trans, and I get to like, it's the equivalent of like a full night's sleep. So not even the like, I get to spend more time, looking at TikToks. Not like, no, like it's not about the free time. It's just about the like being well rested. That's the part for me. I was like, no, 100% team trans. So yeah, there you have it.
Okay. I was considering this for myself, and I'm like, at first I'm like, oh, powerful build. Then I'm like, I already sort of have that. So it's kind of
It's
a wash. Yeah. With the benchmark, after you benchmax 500, I think I'm safe in that category. But I actually did decide I would rather have poison control, not because I'm drinking paint, unlike some of us apparently. Because I thought about this from like the dwarven perspective, and like not east. There's always there's the easy one of like I could drink so much booze, but also that means like my food would be able to last much longer, like stores and whatnot, right? Not
little mold never hurt anybody as long as anybody is Scoot.
Moldy
It's not
food.
gonna taste any good.
Yeah.
Scoot,
I do, however, wonder if the poison resistance would benefit you in your government job, because if you were to, say, partake of illegal substances, would your body get rid of them faster, thus allowing you to pass the drug tests that you occasionally have to pass when you work for the government?
That's interesting.
My concern was, would your resistance mean it would be harder for you to get drunk?
Most likely, it would take more for me to
So
get
that
drunk.
you would have to spend more money,
Which is very inefficient.
A lot about Will. Let's head into the game, shall we? So, the Gaffers had returned themselves to the city of Thunderblade, and through a dealing, Roscoe found Basper, a Null, who wished to transport black powder up north to Veritas Nova, which is the next leg of Tessa's journey to find the ruins of an Aloran temple, of which her family had told her they wished for her to go explore. So the gang is heading out on the road, I believe. You've met up with Basper. Kiki's in the lead of the caravan, trying to act as taskmaster. Everyone is, in various areas of scouting, as the Gaffers have been hired as the main security, although Neva found herself in possession of a very special item, a leaf from the literal world tree that has then sunk into her body and looks like a tiny tattoo right below her clavicle.
A little vinyl on the clavicle. It's pretty great.
So you folks are you're moving. You're heading out the northern road, out of the northern gates of Thunderblade City. And is there anything you folks would like to do as you travel? It's going to take you a couple of days of slow moving with this, with your particular cargo, because you really don't want to be jostling around a whole bunch.
No.
Like it's
We should
usually
definitely have a
fine.
sing-along.
Can I buy one thing before we left town? We don't need to RP it. I just want to.
Sure. What are you buying?
Can I get a protractor?
You want a protractor?
Well, I forget which. Not the protractor's the circle. I want the little
You want
compass
the
thing
compass
that like
thing,
marks
the
off.
pencil. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called a compass.
two-pointed compass.
That's
All right. Yeah, I want one of them.
okay. Call it 50 silver. If you want a really nice one.
That feels super reasonable, and I do so. Thanks so much.
C1's a really nice one.
Okay.
Who doesn't?
I have one.
Cool.
Um,
You folks are heading out the road. Most of the first day seems very uneventful, but I would like everyone to make me perception checks, please. I wish I could use the Moving Right Along song from the Muppets.
25.
I got a
like,
16.
Why am I picturing that like Tessa singing, "Tell everybody I'm on my way"?
Because she is.
Yes.
Absolutely. And that's not going to get annoying at all.
Ooh, crit.
And Kiki crits.
You said perception?
Ooh.
Perception, please. 16 from Tessa, 25 from Neva, no surprise there.
Popping 7 from Nikki.
Okay. So
Oh, that was nice of you. That
Incredible.
makes my 11 feel good. That was very sweet.
You're welcome. I'm here
Did it
for
on
you.
purpose.
yeah, so Nikki and Roscoe, riding is different now that you don't have a penis. Like, things are different, and that's a little jarring for you folks.
The horse used to respect that.
Well, think of it
yes.
this way. You're not sitting on your balls, and they're
Yeah.
not bouncing as you're riding.
Do you sit on? Sorry,
No, you
IRL
don't.
question
There's
for
a-
dudes who have ridden
no.
horses.
No.
I
Okay.
lived with an equestrian
be
girl for
1
a
out of
while,
10
and she
would not
explained
recommend
it. Yeah. You basically clench your butt and sit in a certain way that you don't do that. I've had this diagrammed for me.
That bad.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You had it diagrammed? You didn't
Wow.
take somebody
I know,
on their
that's-
word that you're not supposed to sit on your own balls?
She
You need somebody
Really?
to figure that out?
Have you guys ever?
No, I think
Compass and
Stu was
everything.
asking for an explanation of mechanically how do you avoid
Bounce.
that interaction?
At least I bounced.
Because like there's bouncing involved.
A lot of
Like-
bouncing.
I feel like things might shift.
Well, yeah, like Ryan and I went horseback riding when we were on vacation, and I think by the end of it, he was like, "Okay, that was cool, but I'm done."
Yes. So, that's what you two are up to. Kiki, you're looking around, and you're noticing that Basper is very apt at guiding the cart to, like, avoid potholes and kind of but do it in such a way that the other carts can easily follow him. And he's also giving them, like, hand signals. Because if there's as the further you get away from the city, like, it's very, very, it's still paved road, but there are portions where weathering has come in, maybe from the last winter, and has messed things up a little bit. It's not as smooth as it should be, so he's trying to guide them around it. Kiki, you notice that you're still pretty close to the city. There are regular patrols of the road, so you don't think, at least for today, that there'll be any trouble with, like, bandits or robbers or anything. You think you're going to be good for a while.
Yeah, Kiki's very hyped up because she's nervous about these carts and the black powder. So she's very on, like, she's on high alert. She's just looking. So I'm glad she notices this. She'll convey this to the party, just like that Vasper's doing a decent job of things, just so that they're informed. That's it.
Okay. Neva, same thing. You're looking around. Everything's pretty clear. You do notice the other two gals are having a weird time, and they seem to be trying to, like, they're in some thought as they're experiencing new things in their bodies. Tessa, everything seems...
To be fair,
Yeah.
I also have physical wings on my back for the first time, so balance is off in a couple different directions.
That is true, isn't it?
It's gonna take some getting used to.
I'm going to...
To the sail of my own boat.
Haha. Yes.
I can
Wow.
just stand on a raft and make it a sailboat.
Good checks all around. Yeah, so Thrax is doing okay. Everyone's doing it there. But Kiki, though, with your crit, though, as the day goes on, you find that, you begin looking for a spot to camp for the night. And you are trying to find, like, a really good place along the road, somewhere that's definitely going to be dry, open enough, they can kind of watch things. And Kiki does manage to spot one. So the carts pull over. There are other travelers there as well, so you're not kind of by yourselves. But Basper does take the carts and move them towards the outside of all the folks. Like, they haven't circled the wagons per se, but everyone sort of arranged their stuff to where everyone's kind of watching out for each other here on the road. There's campfires. They build a big communal one. This looks like ye old truck stop, right? Like, this is a place where people can come. There's probably a little bit of supplies here. People are sharing and hanging out. But you all but you come in for the night. The drivers and Baspers kind of they pitch their tents. They someone's gonna be watching the carts. But Kiki, with your crit, you go for a walk, and you find a very odd collection of trees. They're pulled over almost magically. Like, they're growing in such a way that, like, you don't think they would have done this. And they're willows, like they're trees, but they're just sort of bent into what looks like a hut or a hovel.
Kiki's first instinct be to let Neva, our resident half-dryad, know, but she's gonna maybe just peek at it first. Just sort of like see what's around, if there's anyone around, or signs of like any kind of like fire or a light or anything like that.
There isn't. It's pretty damp, although it's clear people did live here at some point. You look in though, and it's weird. There's definitely something very odd about this place because you're still riding from that critical, and you can just tell like there's definitely something here. So you might want to go grab some of your friends to kind of check it out. Like, clearly there's nothing dangerous here because like a patrol would have cleared this out if it was like a trap nest. But it just seems like some sort of structure.
Yeah, Kiki will slap chat bracelet, communicate the others, and sort of walk halfway back to like flag them over, and she'll produce like a light cantrip to let them know like where she is so that they can find her. Come this way. And she'll be like, it doesn't have to be the whole party, but some of y'all might want to come check this out. She'll say like, trees bent, a hut, unusual.
Tess is definitely going to head over.
Neva's definitely coming.
We're all going.
Everyone comes over.
It's cool shit. This is a boring road trip. Let's go.
Okay.
A bent tree, I'm in.
I need everyone to make nature checks, actually.
For a heartbeat there, I really thought you were going to be like, okay, everybody roll initiative. I really just thought you were going to dump us into it. I don't know why.
17 from Nikki.
Nature, you said?
Nature, please.
Ugh. Oh, a crit!
Nice.
I'm not very good at nature. I got a 22. I love me some bent trees.
You do. You very much do,
We're actually
Roscoe.
ants.
So, Roscoe, you're the one that sort of notices this, and you cooperate with Kiki. Though this is a Kenku hideout. Like, this is where Kenkus would probably, and like Kenkus roam the mountains and forests between Nova and Thunderblade. Like, a lot of people live out in these woods, and so do things and monsters. But you see all of these, like, you ever seen like a raven's nest that has like a whole bunch of like shiny shit and bolts? You look in there and then you see like, but judging by Roscoe the height of this, and it very much looks like a nest on the inside, you think, this is a Kenku hideout, because they would be the only bird folk. Because like there's Arakoa, but they would be higher up in the trees because they can fly. So this is probably a Kenku's hideout of some kind.
I'll turn to Kiki and say in Orin, does this feel... I've been here before, I remember it, but just the style or the makeup, I wouldn't be surprised if there is or were other Kenku about.
Kiki's actually kind of misting up slightly because she was abandoned as a fledgling and stuff. She doesn't really even remember her parents, and she's never known a whole lot of Kenku, but she feels this kind of like the structure of it kind of speaks to her, makes her feel a little kind of like cozy a little bit. So she'll have him. She often has trouble speaking, but now she kind of takes a moment before telling Roscoe like, don't know, but feels like home. Feels like place would want to live. And then she thinks a minute. With more machines, though. 'Cause she's doing
Is there any way to tell
How do I get a Roomba on this dirt floor? How is that going to work?
Kind of.
between our dueling crits? Is there any way the two of us can tell whether or not it is?
This is long abandoned. Like no one's like. There's stuff here, but like, if someone was actively living here, there would have been like some level of protection, right? Like a door. Like you're out in the woods now. Like most people, the Roscoe, you would know the folks that choose to live up here in the woods tend to be pretty respectful of each other. If they're not just an out and out asshole, but that's a whole other situation. But like your average woods folk is going to respect people's privacy, like the old curtain rules of like, curtain goes up, don't go in, let them alone. They'll leave you alone unless you're coming to help or check on them. But there's no food. It looks disheveled and dusty. There's definitely plants that should have probably been cut away that are growing, and like the sort of thatch nature of the roof is in disrepair. People have probably
starting to take things back.
Yeah, people have probably slept in here like for a night, but like they're not. No one's actively living here.
I'll turn. I'm still looking at Key. Do you? Not to have you speak for all Kenku, but is this something? Do you think we should take a closer look around, or is this the kind of place that we should just sort of let be?
Kiki will sort of like one of her fingers along and like just trying to show the dust, and she's like, no, okay. And she also, let's just say, Kiki's high level curiosity, right? She kind of wants to know things, so she'll light a couple of light cantrips around, and she'll kind of poke and see, like, not disrespectfully. She's just sort of like, what was this all about? How did they like almost anthropologically, or whatever.
I'm picturing the scene. Is. I'm picturing the scene in like Disney's version of Tarzan, where like they bring him back to the treehouse that his parents made, and all of a sudden he's around human stuff, and it's like, this shirt fits.
Yeah.
So Kiki, you're kind of poking around, and just as you're moving stuff around and kind of checking it out, you're not ransacking the place. You find that as you pull back some vines, there is an inscription in Orin on, it looks like the trunk of a tree that this thing is built up as like a support.
Ooh, what's it say?
The translation would be roughly, understanding our past will bring hope for our future.
Kiki writes it down in her notebook in Orin and in the loose translation, both side by side, just so she has it. And she kind of does a quick sketch of the hut.
Yeah, and as you're sketching, Kiki, there seems like to be this opening below the words that's like big enough for your like another small hand to get into.
Kiki reaches in.
she's Dex like, save.
No,
this is why we need a rogue, people.
Seriously, do I do Dex save?
No, you reach in and you feel that there's as you're like carefully poking around, you feel there's a lever, like a pullable thing in there.
Okay, Kiki's never met a lever she didn't like, so she's pulling the lever.
Okay, you do that. Now I need all of you to make dexterity saves, please.
Oh,
there's going to be a hole in the floor there. Oh, guys, you're near me. Add 4 to it. You get a +4 to your dex save.
Ooh.
So Thrax grabs Bosco and just his wings just start beating as he keeps himself aloft.
Ooh, with that +4, I got a nice little 25 coming in.
Yep.
Oh, I got a 9.
Also, I guess I can fly.
6.
Kiki got a 22.
Okay, so hang on.
That makes it feel like everything dropped away behind Roscoe and Kiki reading the thing in Orin.
We're like up close looking at it.
Like, turn around to just an empty hut.
Yeah, so most of you...
So funny.
I think the
Oh
only-
no!
Tessa, you do a tumble. You can't get your wings out in time, and this place is a little cramped, so... Roscoe, same thing. You just can't get those wings out in time, and you're not used to having them.
With
So-
a 25?
I'm sorry. Nikki falls. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Nikki falls.
Nikki also fails to extrude wings.
Yeah.
What a
You're like,
surprise!
wings!
Now, to be
Damn
fair,
it!
it was much harder for you because you don't have wings. It makes it
Shh,
really
hush,
tricky.
hush. Irrelevant details.
So, you guys, all of you folks watch as Tessa just, bam, hits the... There's about probably like a 20-foot drop. Tessa, bam, you hit the ground. Nikki, bam, you hit the ground. You each take...
Oh no.
You take 4 damage from the fall. It's
Uh,
not that bad.
I
Hit the
resisted,
floor.
so
Let
I
the
take no
pieces
damage.
hit the
Yeah.
floor.
Tessa falls, then Nikki falls on top of Tessa, but the damage comes from her metal armor, not from hitting the ground like boom. And Tessa seems
Ow!
I will ask Nikki if she's okay, if she needs me to do like a quick heal.
It just stung a little bit. It's fine.
So Roscoe
also
and
sure.
Kiki still up top.
Yeah, so
looking down
Kiki,
at them?
you're quick enough to activate those boots of flight, and you're just kind of hovering there.
Oh, Kiki
and,
looks down and she's like, "Sorry."
And Neva, you have like you grabbed onto the wall and just, you grabbed onto different parts and sort of held yourself as you went down, and you managed to avoid the damage. But Eurus,
Kiki will float down.
Yep.
Yeah, she'll float down and she'll be like apologizing back and forth to people who fell.
Well,
Sorry.
Tessa stands up, she puts her hands on her hip, she's like, well, now I'm in a hole.
That's correct.
It could be worse. You could be in a closet. You have a much harder time getting out of those.
Can I
Oh.
fly out of here?
yeah, it's just you,
Can I
like
take Nikki
Thrax
with?
descends, and you
I
you
want
go
to look
straight
around
up.
first.
Yeah,
Is there anything down here?
there is, except
Oh,
you
yeah,
see Tessa just rocket the fuck holes, and just, out she comes. Thrax is like, wait, no,
I'd probably grab Nikki with me, but that is a fair point. I probably would take a moment to look and see what's
Yeah.
around the bottom of the hole.
you folks see what looks like not a briar thicket, but definitely a lot of like vines and roots blocking a passageway.
Oh, I thought this was just like a pit.
It
Okay,
is. It
so-
just goes somewhere.
I am
would-
not
I would
gonna
like
leave
to
it
go
that
talk to these vines and roots.
Okay.
So I kind of like will shout out to everybody, like, "Hey guys, there's a bunch of vines with a passageway down here."
And
Yeah, let's check them.
what would you like to say to them, Neva?
I'll ask them if we can pass, or if they're guarding something.
Only Kenku.
Oh. Okay. Will Kenku get back safely?
Yes? Question mark? Depends on
Is
Kenku.
there anything past you that would hurt a Kenku?
Not physically.
It's emotionally.
Kiki,
She's gonna be so sad.
Yes.
so the vines down here, they say that only Kenku can pass.
Oh.
They said that there's nothing past them that would physically hurt you.
Oh. Okay.
You don't have to go see what's there, but you're welcome to if you'd like. We can wait here for you.
So this is one of the cases where, while Kiki is all about like calculating and risks and stuff, her curiosity about everything here, like for her to just pull a lever without like checking things, like she's so absorbed in all this. So she's like, okay, KK, be back. And then she kind of like pets one of the vines. She's like, nice vine.
So you see
She's like,
one of the vines, as you do that, you hear a series of whistles. You're not sure where it's coming from. You hear
like, is it in Orin?
no,
sounding
it's just
language,
it's just
or is it like just
whistle. It's sound. It's just whistles.
Okay, she'll note the sound, like what they sound like, and she'll follow, I guess.
Okay, so you repeat them, right?
Yeah.
Yep, it opens.
Oh, okay.
You walk through. They come back up. As you walk, it's pretty dark, Kiki, but then you notice this greenish moss that is sort of lighting enough for you to see, and before you is a chest sitting on sitting inside of like a large nest, and that's what you see.
Okay, so Kiki would like to check her traps this time. She might be eager. She might be eager, but she's like, okay.
Things have been
Got
learned.
my couple boo-boos for my friends. Let's not be quite so hasty. I know, right? Yeah, she'd like to check for traps.
Okay, roll for it.
Investigation?
Investigation, please.
Yeah. Oops.
We have a 19.
19.
With the 19, Kiki, everything seems fine. It's just there's no traps as far as you can tell.
Okay. Kiki shrugs. You know what? She's going to use Mage Hand. She'll use Mage Hand to try and open the box. Even though there's no... She's a little bit like...
It opens.
Okay. What's inside?
Inside is a very, very old tome.
Oh. It's the book. And is there a title on it or anything?
It's all written in Orin.
Okay. She
And
speaks
it's-
Orin.
Yep. It is so the front of it written in Orin is the rise and the fall of the Raven.
Okay. She'll look around the room and she'll say in Orin, take book with? Take book with me? Because she's not sure who she's allowed or she has to read it. And she's not even sure that there's any kind of entity or consciousness around, but she wants to ask at least.
There's no response from anything.
All right, she's too curious. So she lights another light cantrip just sort of above her, and she opens the book to see what's what.
So on the front page, it tells you this is an account of in the ancient days when the Kenku were stricken, when they were stricken with their mimicking skills and their inability to fly, and it names the god they offended.
Wow. Wow. Kiki is really intrigued, but she'll message her friends just to be like, I'm okay. Found book thing. Reading. Be back soon. Okay. This is, while Kiki is very intelligent and has her training, she never really had a lot of education about formal education at all, but let alone anything about being a Kenku. So she's riveted. She's just sort of flipped through a little bit. She's not going to do a deep read now.
Right, and you're seeing, but you're seeing like it's definitely split up into the before times, where as you're very quickly, and like there are pictures that are artist renderings, and you see Kenku flying just like the Arakoa do, like full wings, functional, moving around. You read that you flew alongside your bird brethren. And then there was this event where there was these Kenku began to ascend very, very high, both metaphorically and physically, and they tried to fly up into the astral sea. This was not... Most people thought that was a bad idea, but somehow they managed to do it. And this is sort of like a mythology, like Greek mythology, like Icarus, except, he just flew past the sun into the heavens, because that's apparently a thing you can do. But apparently they went and they got there somehow. The book says they flew, but you don't know exactly what that means, given what your friends know about the astral sea and how you would normally get there. Upon getting there, though, they were found by a trickster god. And the trickster god welcomed them, right? He thought that shit was hilarious, that you guys just flew up here, and he thought it was rad. But unfortunately, one of the members there took something from him, and he was not about that. When confronted, the party lied, because whatever it was of great value, and he caught them in their lie, and then as punishment, you Kinku are the way they are today. Flightless and doing mimicry with any language but Orin.
Kiki has a real surge of feelings because she knows, in general term, that Kinku had been cursed, and flying, like truly flying, not just through a device, but is absolutely her dream. And now she's feeling this weight of this injustice about, like, some Kinku stole something one time, and now all Kinku throughout time have to suffer this, like this sort of like the sins of the father bullshit. So she's feeling like sadness and anger, but even some awe at like having this level of detail story about her past. So
the final thing you notice, though,
yeah,
is that the Kinku that went up there as they were cast down refused. All of them refused to give the item back. However, it is said in this sort of new mythos that if the item can be found and returned, everything gets reversed.
Her wheels are turning in her brain. Like, she's already like probably to no one in general, but just to the room again, and maybe a little to the book. She'll just be like, thank you for story taking with Kinku here, just re-emphasizing that she's a Kinku, sort of like Kinku out. And she'll
right. So, and as you walk away from the chest, you hear an echoing laughter, like a. It's not malicious, but it seems very amused. Kiki
will use her mimicry trait and just chuckle right back in the exact same tone. Since it wasn't malicious, she's like, okay, well, I guess it's not malicious. She's a little bit like, what is going on? She does it a little bit out of nervousness.
And you...
Okay.
Now, you folks on the outside... As this is happening, and it's basically the same time Kiki's picking up the book, that vine wall just collapses, and it looks like it's been held by some magic, and then it just almost immediately withers and dies, as if it had been paused in time, and now time is catching up.
I'm going to tentatively move towards it to see if I can now cross through that barrier.
You can.
Kiki's you probably meet halfway or something.
Yeah, I'm probably going to encounter Kiki.
Yeah.
Hi. Are you okay?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Big feelings. Yes, but fine, thanks.
Okay.
She's clutching this big tome. She's not hiding it or anything.
Do you want to talk about those big feelings, or not right now?
Ooh, big book, big tome. History Kinku, big detail. Yeah, ancient curse, can't fly, only mimic, and then she touches her squawk box just as a reminder that's why she can articulate slightly better than most Kinku. Story in here. Boom. She just starts making random noises. She's a little you get this loading she's processing all of her feeling, and then she just kind of actually puts a little hand on Neva, just like a quiet, like a silent, just like thank you for asking and thank you for checking.
Why don't we go back to the caravan and get some food, and you can sit with your book and your food and your feelings, and if you want to talk about them at any time you can, and if you don't want to talk about them, well, we'll all be shoving our faces full of food anyway.
Yes. Sounds good.
Okay.
So as you two approach the opening, you get about 10 feet away. when everyone who is watching notices that this sheet of bedrock flies up and cuts the party in half. On one side, each side has a visage come out of it. One of them. So you guys know the theater masks of comedy and tragedy. So on Kiki's side, you see the tragedy mask. This very kind of pale, humanoid-esque face that looks very sad. And on the other side, you folks in the hole, in the pit, see the happy mask come out.
Like on
it, so like
the ceiling, effectively.
Yes, you remember those old pin things from like Spencer's where you could put your face on and a face would come through?
Oh, sure, yeah.
That's what this is. Just
okay.
Comes out, and it's this almost motionless mask that just doesn't have eyes. There's cutouts where the eyes should be. Is just staring at all of you with this huge grin.
That's not reassuring at all.
Does it look bird-esque at all?
It's just very human. Like, yeah, it's very humanoid.
So can I do a religion check?
Oh, sure.
22.
Who's on this side with Kiki? Is it
Neva
Kiki,
is.
Neva?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
This is very divine magic. Like, this is not arcane. This is divine. You're not sure what has caused this font of power to appear, but it is divine.
Do I recognize the symbol for a specific god?
Make a history check. And
you communicate this to Neva and Kiki? That it's super duper divine?
Oh, actually, no, you don't.
Oh.
The message doesn't go through.
Okay. So I think I do, and then I don't hear a response back, and then I'm like, okay.
They're probably just thinking about it.
I'm gonna luck that. 17.
So you've seen this god. This is an older god that WtR has had before, called Enu. Enu was a god of trickery, but also like theater and dramatics. So like trickery, not to be like screw you over, but like pranks and merrymaking as well.
So I get the feeling that this is kind of just a divine prank.
You don't know. You don't know enough about this god, probably. But you recognize them because with the recent rejoining of Lasana to the east, a lot of the older symbols on the temples that maybe had been forgotten a time in WtR now make more sense because you're able to kind of connect up information.
I will tell the people that are on my side of the wall about this.
Can I try through the slabs just to be like, are you guys okay? Like, I don't know if this was a wall or
you can try to talk
a
through
big
the wall.
block just crushed them.
Yeah, you can totally try to talk through.
Can I hear anything?
I tried through the slab and don't hear anything. I'll try to I'll knock on the wall. I'll bang on the wall and try to see if I hear any taps back.
Yeah, you two on the other side definitely hear somebody doing a bang.
Kiki will do shave and a haircut. Because she's hoping Tessa will know it's her.
Oh, no, she
there
totally
we go.
will.
All right, they're okay. Okay.
Nikki, roll me a history check, please. You study a lot of random
love
shit.
to. I do study random shit.
You know shit.
You know
I've also
things.
lost my character sheet.
I know things.
I don't wear pants, and I know.
Nikki's primary abilities. Well, what am I? History, you said?
History, please, with advantage.
Okay.
Because I feel like this is some weird, obscure shit you've probably written a paper on.
Nice.
Okay.
21 total.
Yeah, so you definitely...
Bizarre Ancient Gods is absolutely like a core curriculum class at University of Phoenix's.
I don't know if it's core, but definitely is offered, and Nikki has taken it.
And did you show up for classes? The real quiz.
Oh yeah, the TA was cute.
Okay, there you go.
So one of Enu's favorite things to do is to have stories told and to tell stories. It's one of the ways his worshippers would hold services, is in the sharing of even benign little kid just rambling about stuff. That was how you did it.
Okay. Okay. I'll say that. Like, yeah. I think I recognize that mask. It looks like Enu. Tessa, that matches with your memory.
Mm-hmm. From what little I know of it, yeah.
Did this god have any sort of pronoun association?
Usually male was how
Okay.
most people have referred to it.
He likes stories.
Hmm.
I'll kind of experimentally. I'll go sit down in front of the wall and like I'll relate my memories of studying about Enu. Like, yeah, I was at the library. There was this really cute guy in the booth next to me, so it was a little hard to focus on you. Just kind of ramble on for a little bit.
Okay. The mask begins to move back into the wall a little bit, but it's still there. It starts to do the Homer Simpson meme in the bush, but it doesn't go all the way.
Okay. Wait, is that good or bad?
You don't know. You could be putting in the launch codes. You could be opening it up. Don't know.
Well, he definitely likes. What kind? Which mask was on our side again? The
You have the
comedy or the
happy
tragedy
one.
one?
You have the comedy one.
We have the happy one.
Did you end up getting with the guy?
I did actually.
Okay, well then it's a comedy, not a
Nice.
tragedy. That's how it works. That's how you tell the difference.
The
Could be
mask
both.
goes into the wall, and it's an odd thing because your side goes, and you see clearly. You can clearly now see Tessa and Kiki.
Neva and Kiki?
Well, I would hope I
sorry,
could see Tessa.
Neva. Yeah, you can. Sorry, Neva and Kiki. You can clearly see
Whoa, how did I
them.
get all the way over there?
Yeah. This is getting out of hand.
You can see the burb and the deer lady there.
Yeah, it's Trickster God. Anything goes.
Yeah. So you can see
I'll
them.
wait.
On the other side, you can't see the group.
Can I hear them at all?
Nope.
Then I would
I'm
like.
sorry. What you hear is soft crying.
Kiki will go up to the mask, and she'll say in the voice she heard from a bar, and she'll be like, "Why so serious?"
Nothing happens.
Okay.
Oh.
She'll show the book to Neva about the trickster god part, and then realize it's an Orin, which she doesn't think Neva speaks, and she'll.
Well, so
she'll
you
mention
did
about the
you did
trickster
tell her
god.
that there was a trickster god involved.
Yeah, yeah.
You tell Neva the trickster god's name.
If it was in the book, sure, but
And its name of the name of Enu is in the book.
Do I know who Enu is?
Make a history check.
Really hope all that time spent being a professor was useful. 20, non-natural.
You've heard of Enu. It's some sort of Taneva's reaching the knowledge because this is a very, very niche thing. You probably had to basically proctor an exam one year, and you happen to be reading.
Read the
through
answer
it.
key.
Yeah, you read the answer key. So you know that Enu is this old god that isn't necessarily worshipped a lot anymore, but still exists. It's sort of an Allura Hearthen situation where they're kind of coming back into prevalence again. But it is that they are seen as a trickster god, but also a god of merriment and the theater.
I relay this to Kiki. I'll look at the mask for a little bit. I'm like, well, given the whole theatrical situation, I'm fairly certain that this side of the wall wants a sad story, and I'm willing to bet that the other side of the wall wanted a happy one because of the stupid tragedy comedy masks thing that our school theater group was always putting on. I guess I can do this, Kiki.
Me too. Kiki doesn't know if it needs more than one story. Kiki also has sadness, so.
Well, we'll just go for as tragic as possible and see if it needs any more juice than that. How does that sound?
Yes.
I would ask you not to discuss this with the. I feel awkward asking that, but I'd prefer not to discuss this outside of relating this here.
Yes. No. Of course.
So Neva takes a seat in front of the mask and begins to tell a story of her last hunt, during which a number of small children had been taken by Famodians. They managed to catch and capture the Famodians and to free the children, but in the process, Neva was very severely injured. And by very severely, I mean Neva was almost cut entirely in half. It took about 3 weeks for her to be stabilized, partly because it took them about a week to figure out that basically a Famodian had kind of like fused/soul bonded to her, so Pug had to go in and burn it out. And as a result, the wound kind of, in order to burn that out, it took more than just kind of like healing magic. It basically, she had to tap into what were functionally non-renewable resources. Her ability to create life, and her ability to feel things strongly, which is why Neva does not seem to express quite as much emotion as everybody else, and also why she seems to really like children quite a bit, but also is a bit sad around them.
Kiki's, like, just her expression is very sad. Like, she's hanging her head very low, and she just gently, like, puts a hand on Neva's shoulder.
So everyone on the other side of this wall can sees Neva sit down. You don't hear her, but you see her talking to where you can sort of see the back end of the mask. And eventually you see the mask, she finishes a story and recedes into the wall, the forest wall on your side, and then it just drops, and you see your companions on the other side. And I should say at this point, you two see the other 4 standing there.
Can we pass through now?
Let's get out of here before he decides to do anything else tricky.
Yes.
Y'all all right?
Kiki walks over. We can physically pass through?
Yeah, you can walk right through.
Okay. Kiki she just looks at Neva, but doesn't say anything, and she just sort of nods and shrugs.
Let's get back to the wagons. We're supposed to be guarding them anyway.
Yes.
Cool.
You folks easily get out of this pit. Most of you can fly.
Yep. Shut everybody up. Back to the camp.
Kiki will give them a bridge.
Using like Thorn Whip to just like latch onto something and pull herself up.
You're doing the rope climb from Jim. You're like, oh, it's thorns. Why did I do this? This was not a good idea. Ow.
I was thinking more how like the way that Thorn Whip works is like it grabs onto something and then it pulls it towards you. Except if it's anchored on that end, it'll just pull her up.
Sure. Why not?
Spider Neva. Spider Neva. Spider Neva.
Yeah.
So when Neva turns into a giant spider, remember that she is a giant spider composed of like wood and vines. It's also terrifying.
That doesn't make it...
Yeah. Better.
No, that makes it more terrifying is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I hate spiders.
You folks head back to the camp. You spend, again, a very restfully, and there's a lot of people around, lots of big fires to kind of keep beasties away, and most of you find yourself slipping off into slumber, or trancing, or whatever the hell all of you do. I need everyone to make a con check real quick, actually, because I need to see who's going to be the last one to go to bed.
You also get a check?
We also get plus... Yeah, do we get a plus 4 in this case?
No, this is just a con roll. It's just a straight con roll.
Just
make a con check, please.
4.
10.
13. Rob's in the lead with 13. Roscoe's
20.
in the lead with the 20. And Kiki. Okay. Roscoe, you were the last one that sleep takes. And something that you notice is that Thrax and Tessa are cuddling, but despite the size difference, Thrax seems to insist on being the big spoon. Even he's probably like a half head shorter. And he's not nearly as big.
It's like a backpack.
Yeah, he's basically backpacking.
Yeah, but there's some wing wrapping that can happen. Like, it feels justified.
You all.
Does everybody seem happy? Then it's fine. I'm not gonna worry about it.
Morning comes. You all eat. You kind of get back on your way. So I need another round of perception checks, folks. Scout. 19. Good. From Tessa.
29.
29.
Damn.
Another 19.
I can't compete with that.
Nope. Let's
We're
see if
not
anyone
slacking.
wins.
We're
I mean,
just
I have a plus
not.
two.
Not.
Oh wow, we
This
all
is
have
literally
like
like
out of
19.
eyes.
Let's see if Rob
Look,
gets a
there
19.
are two. You know how like Nikki's things that Nikki fucks and she knows things. Neva sees and moms things.
7.
Moms and she sees things. Moms and she sees
You're
things.
muted,
Respect.
Rob.
It's not things.
A 7, so not
Okay.
not so great at the whole seeing the thing.
Yeah, I assume Nikki's writing after seeing the Tessa and Thrax cuddling is now writing a fanfic. I'm assuming.
That checks out. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's completely accurate.
We're all writing fanfic about them. So
I'm writing
I'm talking
fanfic
in real
about
life.
Yeah. Once again on the road, everything is very clear. Neva, you and Thrax, since Thrax is a ranger, head out in front of the carts. Something a little worrying that you two find though is that there are big tracks around the road.
What kind of tracks?
Big and reptilian.
Which way are the tracks pointing?
They're around, so it seems like you have entered an area that something has claimed as its hunting grounds.
Do I recognize these footprints?
You do. They look like Gax, but much, much bigger.
Well, I
But
think we know why those Kenku left.
Oh.
No, left to avoid. I'm assuming left to avoid, not got eaten by. I said left for I said left for a reason, not where they
Yeah,
went.
I mean-
No,
I
I'm
thought you were being diplomatic about it.
Their house is all intact, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, you take chicken nuggets out of the box.
How
Maybe
No.
not a great reference.
How dare you?
Not the most sensitive thing.
Wow.
all right,
Roscoe, go right at the back of the caravan and think about what you do.
Neva, please make me a survival
You
check.
sit with your wings folded.
Thrax also is making a survival check, and we get a 10.
I'm gonna lock that.
Okay.
I'm gonna lock that.
New
Ooh.
11.
All right, I'm not gonna keep throwing bad luck after bad luck. I roll an 11.
Yeah, these woods are different. Some of your fade tactics don't work as well. You're used to very summery
Right.
forest. This is a little more temperate, although Thrax seems to kind of be able to pick up the trail as he leads you a little further away from the caravan, trying to see where the tracks lead, how old they are, and in the you come to a point though where Thrax kind of looks at you and goes, Neva, I mean, we're getting pretty far from the caravan, so either we can continue tracking or we turn back. But they're going to start getting away from us.
I would strongly prefer we stay together at this juncture. I don't know that tracking it to where it is currently is going to provide more protection than us all being together.
Mm-hmm. Apples is eating some grass, by the way, as you're talking with Rax, who isn't riding on top of Bosco.
I mean, that's significantly better than what he's usually eating, so I'm fine with this.
The healthiest thing he's eaten.
On the other
Oh,
hand, maybe you
man.
should take a closer look at that
Yeah,
grass.
make a nature check, please.
There might be some mushrooms in there.
Good point. Apples is not known for making good and wise choices, so the fact that Apples is eating something that looks normal, I'm like, I'm gonna check and see if this is normal or not.
It's a salad.
It's salad.
Full of weed.
Oh, for fuck's sake! All right, there goes my last luck. 30.
Good
Look
lord.
at grass.
So there is grass, but there's also mushrooms he's eating as well. That he just his huge mouth is taking in.
Apples.
He swallows.
Oh no.
I'm gonna cure poison. Shit. All right. He's going to die of it. I think he's just gonna be high as fuck, which is gonna be problematic.
He seems
I
fine
can
right
cure
now.
poison.
You turn around, and you folks watch as like this huge corgi with a tiefling on its back comes walking up, and then you see Apples and Neva, but Apples is walking a little different. He's like one of those desert lizards that like walks on its back feet, and he's just now walking like that. And you're
my God.
sort of like a 30-degree angle, Neva, as you're, the saddles for Gax are made for them to go up mountains, so you're not going to fall off. But he's definitely walking on his hind legs for some reason. And he's walking like, he's like kind of moving his hands are out because they're, he goes on all fours, but he's sort of like a walker would, just sort of moving them like back and forth like a runner does.
As we get back to the caravan, I'm basically just gonna like leash him to his sister and walk alongside.
He continues to walk like that.
That's fine. I'm just not dealing with this shit.
Is he bobbing his
not
head
in
like
the
he's
mood.
listening,
What if
like he's hearing music?
Yeah, so
that no one
I
else
think
can?
I believe his sister is with Nikki, and Nikki. So
Yeah.
you're watching this happen.
I'm gonna kind of lean down to Sunnyvale and just be like, "The fuck? What's his deal?"
He ate mushrooms.
Huh. Well, poor choices have been made, but not many. Is he gonna be okay, Neva, do you think?
He's
I
eating
mean, shit, we've
metal,
seen what he eats.
glass, pieces of pavement, parts of houses, spoiled trash, literal shit. I'm fairly certain he's going to be fine.
I'm just gonna like lean over and give Sunnyvale a big hug. Just be like, thank you
Like
for not being that.
Roscoe's also
Roscoe
just
is
patting-
watching this from
yeah.
across, scratching Maxie's head, being like, "Oh God."
You're
I feel like Luna's being very
no.
judgmental
yeah,
about this whole
judging
thing.
the shit out of that gag. As this night wears on, though, Neva, you are awoken as Apples is sort of has his mouth around a small tree and is just sort of like running his teeth up and down it. And then he
Apples,
looks
what
at
are
you
you doing?
very proud of himself. And you can, using your communication with animals, he's like, "I'm a lumberjack." And then he goes back to doing it.
Is it making
Has
a lot
it
of
worn
noise?
off at this point, or is that just apples?
Oh, he's just going. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell, right? Is this just apples or is this...
Yeah,
Is
like
it making a lot of noise?
No, it's not. It sort of sounds like light nails on a tree, though, so it's not making noise. It's just, he's just doing it.
Then I'm going to leave him be.
Okay.
It gives us a little bit of an ambient white noise, I'm also, I'm gonna make sure that Thrax and I, at least one of us is awake for each shift. Seeing as I think he's the most likely to notice if anything is coming our way.
Yeah, so at some point during the night, because I rolled the fate dice and got a critical, Thrax just wakes you up. And you see
I'm
that...
immediately up, staff in hand.
Yeah, I guess. Your mount is, and he looks over, and you see that Apples is doing his dance. He has an axe in his hand, and he's trying to whap the tree. It's not really working though. But he's
Yeah, Gax aren't known for their opposable thumbs, are
No.
they?
So he sort of just got it.
Gaxes with axes?
Yeah.
Is this a
So he just kind of has it
juice
like
novel?
it's like holding a
Apple.
pencil but the wrong way, like up, and he's just sort of trying to bonk it, but like the angles are very, very wrong for this because he has to have it like kind of cocked out instead of like being able to make fluid swings. And he's also trying to like, so he's just standing up against it, just trying to like. He's sort of getting through it though. Like the tree will fall if he keeps doing this.
Apples, where did you get an axe?
And he points to one of the carts.
You can't take you can't take other people's axes.
And he nods and he goes, you can talk to me. He goes, no, I gave them something.
What did you give them?
I found more mushrooms.
Did they eat the mushrooms?
No.
Did you eat the mushrooms?
No.
Are you lying to me?
Yes.
Apples, give me the axe. It's not yours.
But I'm so close. He's not close at all. This would be hours of doing this.
Apples, we're going to be traveling for many hours tomorrow. You need to sleep.
He relents and he gives you. He just drops it and he just walks over to the other two Gaks and kind of tugs him like a very angry child. Like,
I take the axe. I bring it back over to the guard from who it was taken. I put it down next to him. I make sure that there are no mushrooms over there.
Yeah, no, he's looking at them, and it seems like he knows what this is. Like he has an understanding of it. He's not eating it, but he's sort of doing like math in his head.
I give him the axe, and I'm like, please don't eat the mushrooms. My Gak took your axe because he was trying to cut down a tree.
I was wondering what he wanted to do with that. They're very smart.
Some of them.
Yeah, I saw the purple one do magic before.
Yeah. This one is a little less. Bless his heart. He's just. Bless his heart.
Yeah, no, it's
He's
good.
going to bed now.
Just a little less. That's the end of that sentence.
No, it's good. Good he's as big as he is, because these things, like one of them, put a Minotaur in bed for a week.
He's quite practiced at eating unusual items. Which reminds me, if you see him getting too close to any of the carts with black powder in them, please let me know.
No, he hasn't gone near the carts.
Good. I'll aim to keep it that way.
So the driver caches the mushroom. He's bugging to someone at Badger's Den the next chance he gets, to be honest. But that's day 2. So, day 3. Once again, perception checks, folks. Critical!
Ooh, another natural 20 for 27.
For a moment there, I thought that was mine, but no, I got it.
Still does not compete with
28.
Diva.
Still doesn't compete with
Still can't keep up, but I'm feeling more valuable than I was yesterday, so that's something.
You finally adjusted to riding in a saddle with lady bits.
And let's see if Nikki's adjusted.
Excuse me. Let's
Has
see,
Nikki-
indeed.
He's got a 10.
The 13?
Dude, getting better. You're really taking Tessa's advice to heart and learning how to be once, twice, or probably 3 times a lady, depending on what modifier you have. But as far as Roscoe and Neva, Roscoe, you see something as you hit about midday up on this rocky outcrop, probably a half mile from you. You can kind of see it through the trees because there's a big clearing over there, because you definitely see it on the side more towards the mountains. There is a huge Gak. And, like, based on how big it is when you're looking at it, because, again, it's probably about half mile away, is big.
Mm-hmm.
And it's watching you guys.
Hey, everybody.
Jasper?
No sudden movements. It's just nice and easy. But I
would recommend. So, Scoot, what do I know about Gaks in terms of like how they track or hunt things in the wild? Like, do they track by sight? Do they track by smell?
Usually smell. The thing of like real big Komodo dragons.
Okay.
Also, this isn't a gag. This is what's referred to as a rager, which is a behemoth
Jesus
gag.
fucking Christ. Yeah, I know what they are.
Oh, Tessa, and if you tell Tessa, she will also know what a rager is.
Yeah, I will tell Tessa.
Oh.
Yes. Right. Nikki, Roscoe, do either of you have prestidigitation?
Surely. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
You get this as well, I think.
Yes.
Scoot, are there any odors which Gak and more specifically Ragers don't like?
Make a nature check, and Tessa make a history check with advantage. Do. Eat you.
9.
I got a 6 with advantage.
Wow. Skills.
Not that you can think of. There weren't a lot of Ragers in the crossroads. And Tessa, you know that Ragers usually are in the north of Doshinral. You do not spend a lot of time up in like the high mountains.
I'll ask the Gaks who aren't apples. Are there any smells that Gaks don't like?
Maxie would probably tell you that they like the scent of decay, because it usually means a free meal, but big mammalian smells are usually a bad sign. Like big, like wet fur, like big predatory animals would be something to be cautious of.
I'll tell Nikki and Roscoe and Kiki that if it appears that any Ragers start getting closer, that I want them to start prestidigitating like that kind of like large mammalian animal type smell.
Kiki could be like, why not now? She's kind of like preventative, like, should we do it on the side where, create a little like wall or something, or depending which way the wind's going. In part
because I'd like to not irritate our Gax without, necessity.
Okay.
And I think I'm thinking of, I don't know how far Prestidigitate will carry that particular scent, nor do I know if the winds would carry that scent the way that it would carry, that scent naturally. So I'd rather kind of hold on to that as if we have to fight, that's an excellent distraction.
What about like a roar too? Because I have thaumaturgy, so I can make something sound like it's very big coming from our caravan.
You could, and that might be a better option once we're out of this thing's eye line. Like, Scoot, is there anywhere coming up where we'll pass out a line of sight of it?
Yeah, like you're in deep. You came to a part where the woods are sparser, which is how you folks saw it. But you will be heading into deeper woods, and like these things are big and are gonna have a rougher time maneuvering in big, like dense woods.
Right.
Kiki would like wolves because of the wolfwood. Maybe like enemies or.
They would, yeah. Like the wolves of the wolfwood would have hunted them, if they were like threatening them. So they probably would. If this is from there, you don't know. The Ragers aren't native to Prema. This was brought here. And probably like left to like go into the wild.
Okay, then in that case, I would definitely I would have the folks who can do prestidigitate and thaumaturgy maybe start making like noises that sound like large mammalian creature is traveling here. Possibly wolves. Let's go with wolves. Why not?
I want to do the wolf.
Also, Kiki she'll tell the group that she's toying with the idea of making a stink bomb that would specifically replicate this smell, but she would need the equivalent of a short rest to make it. Like she would need 30 minutes or whatever that is. I don't know if that would be out of its territory.
You can do that on the trail. Like you can just be like hanging out in the back of a cart and be counting for that.
So if you want, you'd have to give me like an intelligence check.
While we're in that period of putting the stink bomb together and getting thaumaturgy ready, I will start. My instinct is Neva's the mom, so I will initially think, I'm going to pass Maxie's reins to Neva. Then I look at Apples, and I turn to Nikki, and I pass Maxie's reins to Nikki to just kind of tie off and follow along with Sunnyvale for a minute, and I will say I can keep an eye on it without upsetting it, and I will cast invisibility on myself and fly and just like keep an eye on it while invisible. As
So
we are
Neva
moving
will,
toward
through
the
the Slap
deep
Chat,
wood.
remind you that Rangers have a keen sense of smell.
Yeah,
so
I'm
unless
staying
you're-
like just directly above our party. Like I don't want to go anywhere closer to it. I just want to be able to have an uninterrupted view of it and a good view of where we are going.
Okay, so as you folks continue on, Roscoe, from your eye in the sky point of view, you're watching the Rager just watch you, and it, eventually the caravan goes even beyond your sight as it heads into some real dense trees, but like where the road is, and it will be on the road. But nothing else happens. Nothing else happens today.
Neva messages up to you through the Slap Chat. Do you see any other ones?
Can I look around to see
Perception
from
check,
this
please.
perspective? Oh, but I just wasted my good one. 15.
There, it seems to be by itself.
Okay. It's a big thing to look for. I feel confident in the 15. I'll message back. Nothing I can see in particular, and I'll start moving forward, looking for another clearing or thin space by the road, and I'll just fly ahead and wait for everybody to catch up.
The rest of your time moves on. Night comes.
When
Are
you make-
stopping?
Do we have
for
to
the
make?
night?
Do we have to make camp for another night? Or
You don't have to. You can. Going will be harder in the dark, but you don't have to stop.
I'll ask Basper, because I'm assuming he's made this trip before, whether he feels safe traveling at night or no.
Are you telling him everything about like the Rager?
Yes.
I say, yeah, I've been a Rager before. There's a lot of griffins up there, though. I vote we keep fucking moving, because I don't want to be
would not
anywhere near
object
that
to
goddamn
that.
thing.
At this point, given that it's now dark out, and so things don't have line of sight to us quite as easily, or we'll be tracking mostly by smell. I am going to ask the magic users to start making wolf noises
I can do
with
this.
their magic, not on their own.
Yeah, I've got thaumaturgy.
Then you
I feel like
tilt
I
your
need
head
to-
back, you finish your
I
sentence, and she
like,
looks
I don't
sad.
need you to start howling like a wolf. I need you to make thaumaturgy to make there is a large wolf pack traveling together kind of
Yeah, it
noises.
makes like a big voice. It's almost like a microphone.
Only we had a bard with it.
Bosco immediately joins in the howling.
Oh,
What I feel like Apples also somehow joins in, and it makes no sense, but it works.
But eventually,
That's not a wolf, Apples. Fucking hell.
though, you are going to have to stop because you've been traveling all day and a lot of the night. So you can get a lot more ground covered than you normally would have. But even with pushing it, the horses pulling the carts, the Gax need to rest. So you do
Right.
have to pull over and.
So then I want, on one of the shifts, I want me and Roscoe and Kiki. And then the other I want Thrax and Tessa and Nikki. Because that way we'll have at least 2 magic users at all times who can do the sense and sounds and such. And at least one really good on perception person.
I can't really do the louder sounds, and I kind of flick my fingers, and you hear it sounds like a wolf howling 4 miles away. Prestidigitation is limited to faint sounds. I don't have thaumaturgy. It's a
Small awoo.
cantrip.
Kiki,
Sounds right with that.
Kiki's
Right.
Does it actually sound like it's a distance away, or is it just really quiet right here? Like, is there a range?
It's reasonable that it sounds like it's far away. It's hard to tell the difference between those things, I guess, as long as I can get it accurate enough. I don't know. I mean, you couldn't hear it from.
Nikki, I think that's
anywhere
actually
here.
quite useful if they're hearing random wolf sounds from other places in the forest that sound like a lone wolf separated from the rest of its pack. They might be drawn to that instead.
Well, if they're next to us, they could certainly hear it. It's an idea. But I can do this. I kind of sit down and start writing in the dirt.
Are you?
It's just a dissertation.
Yeah.
I'm clearly casting something, but
I was gonna say I'd make a joke along those lines. I don't think you can thesis these rangers to death, but I'm assuming there's a spell going on there.
yeah,
won't
give
know
it
until
give
you
it
try.
like 20 more seconds.
All right, give it like 20 more seconds.
Right, and tiny hut.
Yes.
Dome
How
dome
big
of
is Tiny Hut?
10-foot radius, so 20 foot across. It's not huge.
Okay, so in that case, I want whoever's sleeping to be in the hut.
Yeah.
And whoever's awake to be just outside of it.
I'm going to be in the hut because otherwise there's no hut.
Oh, all right. Then you have to be in the hut at all times.
I am required for hut.
It's not true. It's just a lie wizards tell, so they don't have to.
So they don't
go
ever
watch.
have to be outside their huts.
It is not a part of the spell.
Bullshit. All right,
The greatest lie the wizard's ever told.
Roll for deception.
I need the first group to please take their watch, please. So I need perception checks from Neva, Kiki, and Roscoe.
21.
Only a 21.
17 for.
Yeah.
10. Going in the wrong direction.
Okay, you are Kiki, Roscoe, everything's fine. Something you notice, Neva, is that apples and the other Gax are gone.
Didn't we tell them what was going to happen first?
Did you?
Yes. Like, what I was specifically asking about, was there anything that they didn't like? I would let them know that we were asking because we were trying to scare away the Ragers, and there isn't really any, like, wolves around here.
Yeah, no, they're gone. They seem to have walked off.
Okay.
I blame apples. I don't know if that's.
Eva's like, fuck you, don't blame apples for this shit.
He's mushroom hunting.
Oh god, he probably is.
Nikki rolls over.
Sounds like an
Okay,
innuendo
Eva,
for
but like
something.
realistically though.
Really think he's smart enough to get the others to leave?
Nikki's already back to sleep, so I don't have to answer that question.
Okay, so
Fucking wizards.
I really didn't want to have to spend my 4th level spell slot, but I think I'm gonna have to.
To do what? Are you going to tell us beforehand?
I'm gonna cast Locate Animal. Or Locate Creature, rather.
Who are you trying to
Locate.
locate?
I'm
Locate
casting Locate Creature, and I'm gonna try and find Sunnyvale, because I think she's most likely to be keeping an eye on her brother, but also, like, smart enough to know where Maxie is.
So
What's your range on that, Eva? On the spell.
What is the range on that?
Because I might have something that could help if it's out of range.
It is within 1,000 feet.
Okay, mine's the same.
You, at the edge of your magical perception, you find Sunny.
Okay. In what direction? North, south, east, west?
West off the road, the opposite way that the the Ranger is.
Okay. I'm going to wake Thrax so that there's still somebody who's like got good perception here.
Okay.
And I'm going to go get Sunny.
By yourself?
Yes, mostly because I think I'll have an easier time of hiding and or running away if necessary than anybody else will.
Okay.
No, that's fair.
Now, Roscoe and Kiki, you are awake for this as you see Neva begin to move off.
I would tell them before I leave.
Okay.
And if one of them absolutely decides they have to come with me, I literally can't stop them, but I would tell them why I was trying to go by myself. Basically for moving quickly, quietly, and not getting noticed.
Would you be okay if I pulled the eye in the sky card again and at least had somebody a little bit closer to you? Like I'll stay invisible and flying and halfway back.
Reasonable, yes.
Okay, then I'll do that. I'll burn another invisibility and kind of be her shadow.
We can't hear you, Rendell. You're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry, all for apples. It's the problem child.
3 of
All for
them.
apples.
If we come back with 2 out of 3, we're gonna call it a win.
Which 2 though? Is the question.
Honestly, at this point, I'm not even. I mean, like, I like Maxie, but I had to look up the name, so clearly I'm not that emotionally invested in my gag.
You've got wings now.
I'm not a pets D&D guy. A lot of people are into their pets. I don't need the pets, so it's fine. Like it's the
You
car.
would get along well.
Pacts, not pets. Is your
Packs not pets. I'm getting that shirt.
Packs not pets. Got it. That's going to be tonight's session.
So let's say I'm like 50 feet back. I'm like 50 feet.
So actually,
back
Roscoe, as you head up out of the canopy, you see probably about 4 or 5 griffins rising up from the treetops and heading south.
Are they heading? Because I'm sure Neva would have indicated which way we are going to be headed for this.
So you were heading
in
west.
that direction.
They have
We're heading
lifted
west.
up.
We're heading
They're
west.
At this point, they're heading southwest, but they are moving away from where Neva is going.
So they were relatively in that area, and now they're leaving.
Now they're leaving.
Okay. Well, unless that was a play date, this might be troublesome.
So Neva, you find the 3 Gaks just walking casually back towards the carts.
Where did you go?
Who are you asking?
Sunny.
It was a play date.
And Sunny goes, we had to find Apples, but Apples found other friends which we think can help us.
Oh?
Mm-hmm. Well, Apples found an egg, and the birds wanted the egg, and then I figured out if we give the eggs back to the birds, they'd help us with the big one.
Okay. So, Apples did not eat the egg.
No, Apples understands when eggs are big enough, they belong to somebody, and Apples nods like, yeah, fucking obviously.
So the
Yeah.
Griffins are helping us with the Rager?
Mm-hmm.
How are they helping?
You'll see.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All
Rager-
of you,
and
especially
she looks-
Apples.
She goes, Ragers can't look up. Or they have a very
That
hard
is
time
very
doing that.
useful.
Yeah, I should say, Ragers often don't look up,
That is very useful knowledge.
and they just walk back to the camp and get retied off.
So you guys notice that, like, Neva looks more than a little bit smug as she's coming back over? Because, like, for all that she gets exasperated with Apples because he is the problem child, he is her problem child, and she does not appreciate him being blamed for everyone wandering off or for all of this trouble nonsense. And she kind of lets everyone know, the ones who are awake at least, that Apples found a griffin egg.
Multiple
Eggs,
eggs.
plural, and told Sunny and Maxie about them. They returned the eggs to some griffins who were looking for them, and the griffins have agreed to help us with the Rager.
Isn't that blackmail?
No,
their
they
own
didn't-
eggs.
They didn't threaten to keep the eggs. Apparently, the griffins were trying to find them.
Oh,
How do
Also, do we
griffins
need
lose
help
their
with the
eggs?
What's that?
No.
We'll just go with it. Kiki's wondering how you lose very large eggs. Your offspring, but yeah, she'll go with it. She'll roll with it. She's happy to help.
As it happens, and this will likely be useful given that, 4 of you can fly. Ragers have difficulty looking up. We may
Good to
find
know.
this knowledge useful. But in the meantime, The Gax are back. There are no Ragers in the immediate vicinity, and the Griffins are temporarily on our side.
Great.
Go Gax, go. Redemption arc. Hashtag redemption arc.
We'll absolutely give apples an apple now.
This is a game
Apples
about
is
apples
absolutely the chosen one of some prophecy out there. And like 3
God
months
help
from
us all.
now, we're gonna look around and be like, there was one like that. The foretold the
The dumbass.
now. The dumb boy to end all dumb boys.
He will seem to other Gax have the mind of a child, but he will be chosen.
They're not wrong.
Yeah.
So
Mind of a not particularly smart child at that.
dawn comes and the carts begin to move. Everything is fine. Nothing happens. The day is tense but uneventful.
How many
Between the
days is the trip
Ranger,
supposed to be, by the way?
Sorry?
How many days is the trip supposed to be?
This is the you will be coming out of the woods and you will be in sight of you will probably have to camp one more time before you get up to Nova, like into the city proper, but you will be out of like the deeper woods and you'll be able to get, you know, within a half day's journey, but like after pushing it hard last night, you're gonna have to camp one more time.
between worrying about all of the black powder and the Ranger, you see Kiki sipping lots of little cups of espresso. Like she's just, and you hear it like rattling
It's
as
like a
she's
Looney
sipping it.
Tunes cartoon is just like
Yes.
smoking and drinking coffee.
Kiki needs to relax. She needs a hot springs episode after this.
So she's so
At some point,
needs that.
Neva will like gently take the espresso cup away from Kiki and replace it with like a cup of decaf green tea, which decaf does not actually mean free of caffeine entirely. It just means low caffeine. So like there's still a little caffeine in there, but there's less of it, and there's also some L-theanine, which helps with the jitter thing.
Okay, Kiki doesn't put up a fuss. It's more she needs something to do with her hands as well.
Right. Kiki, how's that stink bomb coming along?
Oh, done. And she crosses her fingers. She's not sure if it'll work because it's basically, if I use it, Scoot's got to give me like an intelligence check to see how it'll
Well,
work.
luckily for you,
Or to
Kiki,
grab.
I've been rolling the fate dice a lot, and it has been fucking coming up for you guys all night. Because you folks
Hell
head
yeah.
out of the woods.
Thumbs up.
You head out of the deeper woods, and you head into the openings. In the distance, Neva can hear many screeches and a big roar. So something's happening, but that is no longer your problem. As you make camp for the last night, as everyone is like has spent about 2 days on a very high alert, and finally you are in sight. You can see the city probably a couple miles ahead of you. You see the lights in the distance. You can see now, as you are kind of resting and kind of ending the journey a little bit sooner since you went a longer time last night. You see a patrol of soldiers coming up the road, like you saw back in Thunderblade. So you were kind of in a much safer area. You folks conk out for the night, kind of feeling hopefully a little bit safer, knowing that there's like patrols and scouts kind of around, just kind of keeping an eye on things. It is this night, though, that something very strange happens to one of you, Neva. Normally, you sort of trance, right? You don't sleep properly like the rest of us do. Your trance goes very, very deep at sort of the pinnacle of it as you feel your consciousness slip into the earth, like you did when you first tried to use the leaf.
Okay.
You find yourself at the base of a massive, sprawling tree.
Is it the tree?
It seems like it's probably not the tree itself, but it's definitely a sort of natural energy representation of it, because you can see where the roots and the branches are touching different places. You can see the Primal Valley. You see different parts of the Feywilds all kind of laid before you as you float in this sort of ether.
Okie doke.
after a few moments and getting a look at some different images of different points of very concentrated natural power in the world, something comes towards you. It has the presentation of probably a woman, possibly human. It's just wreathed in vines and growth. Think of like the Greek concept of Gaia. It's definitely like an earth spirit of some kind. And it just floats up to you. And they seem they look at you curiously for a moment, and then their eyes draw to your clavicle. And they say, "Oh, that's where that one got to."
Does it belong to you?
As much as anything else does.
I would offer it back, but I think I'd rather have difficulty actually following through.
Well, you would, it says. But you, my dear Faye, have made a very interesting choice and a very interesting leap of faith in nature. Most people would not touch that leaf, much less let it go into their body.
Well, my understanding would be that if it did not want to travel with me, it would not have chosen to do so. My understanding could also be entirely and eminently wrong.
You're not entirely wrong, but nature is a precocious thing. But you are different than many of the vessels we've had before. Many of those that walk the path of the roots. You came to us wounded, and many don't.
It's a rather common occupational hazard.
Well, and there's a hand that extends and kind of just passes over most of Neva's body. And she goes, "Well, this is where you will have a choice, because while many wardens of the roots and of the branches have the choice to both create and defend, you will have a choice of one. The power that I have," and they gesture back to the tree, "can mend you to where you were before the wounds, and you may create again, but you would not be able to that would come at a cost. You would not be able to protect in the way you could if you chose to not be fully healed. The choice is yours, Neva, to follow
protect what?
The world and the tree.
So does Neva have any knowledge of what the hell this thing is talking about in terms of guarding the world tree? Kate as a player has some inkling. Would Neva as a character have any concept of the world tree has defenders throughout the realms?
It does. The world tree. You would know one is named Gerlin, who lives in the Primal Valley and has a Tarask for a pet. That story would have gotten to you, even in the Feywild. He's also a drunkard and insane, so it all checks out. But there are those who are associated with nature that have such a strong bond that the world tree will reach out to them to act as agents to protect and propagate nature, to make sure that civilization doesn't overstep and ruin things. Because mortals tend to have a habit of liking industry, and industry sure does fuck up the planet if it's left unchecked. And that's sometimes what the wardens do. They also have responsibilities to keep the powers of nature sometimes secret and away from hands that would abuse them.
So Neva knows that's the choice she's being offered.
Sort of. That's what they normally do. But what this entity, this sort of projection of the world tree, is telling you is, she would tell you you have two paths that you can follow. Do you know who the architect and the guardian are?
A somewhat general sense, yes.
Okay. Many follow one of the two paths. If you were to choose the path of the architect, you would be free to create, and we could heal, with that power we can heal you. And she motions to where the wounds are deepest and most lasting. However, you will be able to create life. If you choose the path of the guardian, you will be able, you won't be able to create as some others can. You will be able to protect much better, much more vigorously.
Oh. Do I need to decide now?
Yes. We must always be growing, Neva. Growth will happen. We must go with it.
So like internal processing wise, Neva is pretty torn. Because like it's partly that she loves kids and has always wanted to basically create saplings of her own, functionally speaking. And that's part of why like she joined the hunt in the first place, to protect children. But like that's part of why she joined the hunt, to do the protecting, not just the creating of them. And in a weird way, I think that she's going to actually find this kind of like healing. The fact that she's been given a choice, and this time she gets to make the choice. The choice was not taken from her. And so kind of after a very long pause, she will tell the world tree that I choose the path of the guardian.
Very well. And there's a hand that comes out and reaches for where the leaf is, and she stops short and looks at you and goes, "Are you sure? This is your choice."
Neva looks a little bit more at peace this time and says, "Yes, I'm sure."
Her hand goes and just touches where the leaf tattoo is, or where the leaf is. It just presents as a tattoo, and there's a moment where you now snap into being conscious, or like fully like untrance conscious. And what anyone looking at you would notice is the leaf tattoo grows, and you see very long, healthy, thick roots begin to go from your clavicle towards your arm.
Great.
Well, that's wacky.
Yep. And they're spiraling, and they look a little briarish, and look very like defensive. They don't look like thorns per se, but it looks like a roots intersecting that would be very hard to like pull out of the ground.
When Neva wakes up, there are definitely, like when she snaps to full consciousness, there are definitely tears on her face. And she's probably not going back to bed tonight.
Yep, you watch as actually Apples walks up to you, and his huge ass lizard tongue just gives you a lick across your face. And then he sort of does that like cat and dog thing where he knows you're upset, although he may not really understand why, because it's a, intense extraplanar complex thing. Also, he's Apples, so he may not know why. He just knows you're sad.
He's dumb as shit.
And he will just take his huge ass head and nuzzle you.
Is he going to attempt to sit in my lap?
No, he understands. He knows how big he is. This is not a big dog situation. He's a horse, so he's not going to try that. He will try to lay his head on your lap.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I can make that work.
So dawn arises, and you're the last, of the last bit of your journey as you're train of black powder pulls in towards the gates of Nova, and Basper at that point is just like, yeah, wow, that went fucking smooth. Damn. You guys are really good.
Yes. As
Maybe.
promised.
Kiki twitches a little bit, like she's coming down from all this stress.
All right, well, let's just get this into the city, and then I'll get you folks the rest of your payment, and then you want to go back? I got more stuff. Well, I gotta get the Seas Bite shit.
We have some business to attend to this way, so I think this is where we get paid and joyfully, very friendly, part ways.
All right, let me give him my card though, and he hands Roscoe a business card. That's just a picture of him giving like finger guns, like the double point.
Amazing.
But somehow I know I will find him.
Somehow, he does pay you the remainder of your gold, which is 529.
That sounds right. I think it's. I know it ended with a 9.
Yeah. He pays you, and then he gets the rest of the drivers, and he just heads off into the city to basically get new wagons and head towards the main port of Seas Bite on probably another day once he and these drivers have had some time to, rest and kind of get off the road for a little while. But you folks are in Nova, and I think this would be a good place to stop for the night. So for all of you, thank you for having. That's a very emotional session, I feel. But we will see what happens next week as the crew ascends to, Allure and Makeout Point to see what kind of shenanigans are going on with this portal. So thank you all very much, and we will
Allure
see
and
you.
Makeout Point.
We will see you all next week.
Not inaccurate.
Goodbye.